Hey Bear Hat, welcome, welcome. How are you doing this eve?
I am doing well. I'm a little conflicted, honestly. I actually came in here kind of. Can you use therapy as like what's that thing priests do?
Rape?
No.
Oh.
The thing they're supposed to do.
Oh.
I mean, the thing they're supposed to do officially, like on their paperwork, not like what they actually do. Confession, that's it. Yeah, can I do like confessions in therapy? Does that like count? Does it like transfer over?
I mean, I don't know if I feel qualified. I'm not really a religious person or figure, but I mean,
But
I guess...
it's like you and priests, like you're like the opposite of a mandated reporter. Like you're not allowed to report anything.
Right.
Except for all the things that you have to report, but like, you know.
I do have a paper-thin confidentiality clause, so, if you want to confess something, lay it on me.
It's like you guys and like lawyers, I think.
Right, yeah, lawyers. Yeah, famously tight-lipped.
And journalists never give up their sources, especially if they work at The Intercept. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I've just like, forgive me, Freud, for I have sinned. You guys still like Freud? Is he big in your? Don't worry about it. I'm mutuals with a filmmaker on Blue Sky.
Jay Bearhat.
I know. It's a conflict of interest. It's like a non-disclosed conflict of interest.
Don't you understand the meaning of cringe?
I know. I can't. My podcast's integrity is in shambles. Like, how can I have an unbiased opinion on literally any art ever again? Not even just movies. I can't talk about music.
You are friends with at least one musician, so you should probably stop talking about music immediately.
Yeah, actually, let's cut that one. Let's not talk about music.
Yeah, not allowed anymore.
Yeah, actually, that one. Yeah, now that I think about it, that one I think was already not allowed. But
TV shows off the table.
Books.
Books are
off
the table.
Movies are kind of a new one. I think this is new terrain for me. And it's like especially hard because like she's a wonderful, talented filmmaker who's been involved in it for many years, and she's got like a Kickstarter right now to fund the second part of her movie. So if I talk about that, like, is that like shady?
Is it like, kind of shady if we say, for example, here, like, scroll down and look in the description and click on the link to the Kickstarter?
And you'll see a link to a Kickstarter for a sequel to a movie, or really the part 2 of a movie, being made by someone that I am personally mutuals with and have talked to online. And who also only lives just right over the border and has asked to be taken to the gay furry bar if they know. We're talking about Louise Weird's Castration movie today.
Castration movie. Well, I don't know the bitch, so she can fucking die for all I
care. Part 1 of Castration movie.
Part 1 of theoretically 2 parts. Yeah, check out the Kickstarter for part 2. That's definitely, we're going to be linking to that.
You support trans art. I don't know. I feel like even if I didn't know Louise Weird, and actually kind of even before I really knew her in any capacity, I was like, oh yeah, I want to throw in for this. I like supporting weird trans art.
Well, so since we're so on board and we're throwing our money behind this project
for completely independent reasons.
I
feel like I actually do want to step this up. Break break kayfabe for a little bit, and I feel like it sounds like we're put up to this. We actually literally weren't. I was just like, I'm just gonna record an episode, and she'll find out we did an episode about it when it goes up.
Not sponsored. Happy birthday.
Literally didn't even mention this to her. It was just like, oh yeah, I just watched it. It's really good. Immediately was like, Brie, let's do an episode on this.
So what makes you like Castration Movie so much, Jay Bearhat? What is it that stands out? What do you want to talk about here?
So there's a lot to talk about.
There's a lot to talk about. This movie is 4.5 fucking hours long.
Yeah. It's no Santango. Actually, how does it
Satan Tango?
Satan's Tango by Lydia Tarr, I believe is
Devil
the
Dance.
Of that one. What else is up there for the long movies?
Russian Ark.
An elephant sitting alone or standing still or whatever that one is. That's the one made by the guy who like immediately killed himself when it came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that one sounds really good, but it sounds really, really upsetting to watch, and also is like 100 hours long. There's that one that's just like following a cargo ship for a really long time.
Yeah. Yeah, there's all sorts of stupid long movies that are really long and gay.
But this one I think is fun because technically you could break it up into 2 movies if you wanted to make it into an afternoon. Not me. I tagged in friend of the pod, friend of my life, Kate, for a good old fashioned let's sit down and watch this in one long sitting.
If there's one thing Kate's down to do.
Yeah, not famously, but like I've mentioned it on Twitter multiple times where it's like, yeah, like my greeting to Seattle was Kate being like, oh, you haven't seen Inland Empire? And then showing me Inland Empire, and then immediately being like, oh, you haven't seen 12 Ounce Mouse? And showing me the entirety of 12 Ounce Mouse.
Dude, those are 2 of the greatest artifacts of Seattle culture.
Literally, it's just like, I was like, these are the same thing to me. So I have a certain love of sitting and watching with a friend something really, really long and really indulgent and lo-fi and using kind of its limitations to scream out something. And that's kind of how I feel about Castration Movie. So in it, to put a simple bow on it, I would say what I like about Castration Movie is that it is just like 4.5 hours of hanging around some of the worst people you will ever meet in a bar. Yes,
they are kind of uniquely intolerable characters. A vast majority of them. That was an enjoyable sort of aspect of the movie, is that it's utter devotion to not just trans mediocrity, but trans shittiness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What's So what's your favorite part of the movie?
I mean, I feel like everyone's gonna say the Vera Drew, Cricket Arison, Alice Maui McKay. See the throuple, the arguing throuple.
Yes.
Everyone's gonna say that. My favorite in terms of just like how painful it is probably the nearing the end of the film when the 2 kind of primary characters that we're seeing the story through, Michaela and I'm immediately blanking on the friend's name. Hold on, I should have had this pulled up.
Adeline,
yes. Is when they just have the most stressful argument in a value village,
and
then Michaela just like not dropping it. just like absolutely just like not like her friend is clearly like super dysphoric and uncomfortable and it's just like, no, I'm like we're not like peers, I'm like your mom because I transitioned before you, while just giving her like the worst advice.
I loved that she says that line and her face is like covered in mayonnaise from the shit that she's eating.
Oh god, I forgot about
I'm
that.
your mom friend. Yeah, that shit's very good. Yeah, so we essentially have two movies in one here. For the first hour and a half of this shit is basically a movie about a closet case cis couple.
Yeah, I think a friend of mine was messaged me about it and was like, it's really like the power inertia of an obvious like closet for closet couple. Not necessarily like any specific diagnosis of what closet both those characters are, just like, oh, you both are like really, really afraid of failing at being straight.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right down to like the best way to summarize that first half of the film has got to be the scene of, I think his name's Tucker.
Something like that.
Something Tucker, who cares? He sucks. Tucker just reading Turner just reading like unbroken 4chan posts from like R9K, the like incel board, for like what feels like 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
While his girlfriend doesn't respond in any way, and then it just like suddenly cuts to an over-the-shoulder shot, and she's drawing furry porn this entire time.
Yeah, that shit's
and,
great.
And then finally she goes, "What are you reading?" Just like has just been letting him go with like out any question. And then is like, should the dick be coming? Or like about to come. It's just like
most realistic millennial dialogue.
I have been like around that exact couple of just like seeing them hang out and be like, why are you two even in the same like room? Like you're in the same room. Yeah. But are you like in the same room?
Yeah, absolutely.
Real powerhouse of just a stressful performance that nominally does not seem to connect much to the second film or second part of part one.
Right. On the surface, they seem rather unconnected.
But if you, well, there's an actual like exact plot overlap moment, but I was very uncertain about like, okay, what's the connection really between these two outside of like Michaela's obvious like obsession with this concept of like of transmaxing incels.
Mm-hmm.
And I take it as like, because then you see her character kind of go through a slightly similar arc, but it's like much different because she's navigating it as a woman and not as like a shitty dude.
Mm.
And also with the way that they intercept, I'm curious how much part 2 is going to build on it, but it feels like a sort of answer to the call of Imogen Binny's Nevada from like, God, over a decade earlier at this point.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like Nevada came out and people got really into the idea of cracking eggs, and nobody has really wanted to do anything that kind of answers the call of Nevada, which is that like, hey, you gotta have your shit together to do this kind of thing. And if you're trying to do this kind of thing, you don't have your shit together.
Nevada is so like the taxi driver for trans people, like, oh, she's so cool. She spotted that closet case from a mile away.
Yeah,
I want to be just like her and crack people's eggs.
And it's like, famously, that's how the book ends. Is like, right? Is like with him becoming a trans woman. It's like,
yeah, really.
It's so funny how much it's like, how did you, do you think that after the scene where he's like, I'm gonna go have normal straight sex with my girlfriend, and this time I won't dissociate, you think that it's like, oh, okay, yeah, she did a great job with him.
She really saved that one.
Yeah, no, it's very funny to me how much it's like the whole point of Nevada is kind of like, not even just that it's like air quotes anti-egg cracking, but that it is, because it's not even really like a polemic. It's just diagnosing it's just a narrative about a type of personality and a type of thing where it's like, here's a character who doesn't have her life together. She flees her situation, ends up stranded in this town, and sees someone who's like kind of slightly further back in her personal history, and is like, I bet I can save this guy because I know what he needs, and therefore I don't got to think about what I need. Like, it's a very human story in that way.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I feel like Castration Movie is answering that call with Michaela being very much so that same type of character, but just like really allowed to get worse.
Yeah. It's all a little bit hard to say because it kind of hinges on like things, the plot elements from a part of this film that has not even been made yet.
Yes. Yeah. That's why I said, like, that's my prediction, but you know, we can analyze the film in its own context. So the loose structure of the two films are, the first one centers on Turner, who is a film production crew guy,
Mm-hmm.
and he sucks.
Yeah.
And he's in a shitty, mutually toxic relationship with a woman. There's some elements would suggest possible, you know, like gender dysphoria fueling part of his behavior. Could also just be a weird guy. It's left kind of ambiguous in what we're shown so far.
Right.
And you know, he has this ironic attachment to the 4chan incel board, and then after, you know, they break up, he has a really bad date. He picks a fight with the living statue, tries to get back to her by breaking into her house, or as he repeatedly emphasizes,
Doing
I
a
didn't break
romantic
in.
gesture.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't break in. The doorman let me in. Which is such a funny like line to keep repeating. It's like, I didn't break in. He let me in. Horrible scene. And then just like we see him going to 4chan and starting to type out some sort of like incel-y whining post.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Smash. End of part 1. That's an hour and a half. And boy, is it an hour and a half. Next film starts up. I would say somewhat of an unfocused narrative. It's very mumblecore.
Yes, it definitely is.
As we mostly follow Michaela, but we kind of ping pong around this like nexus of transsexuals and their one Grungler roommate who
Mm-hmm.
Michaela's really mean to.
Yeah, they kind of they do the egg thing at him, and it's like really unfunny and uncomfortable and stupid. And they basically do like 4chan phrenology stuff. I'm gonna say my piece.
Okay.
I didn't like this movie. My white blood cells just react very violently to any mention of 4chan in any regard. And like, I wished there was a script. I wished the movie didn't hoard my time quite so much. I wished sort of all of these different things of the movie, just because I struggle with, I don't know, the like the idea of being trans and like the and like you spend any amount of time on like this like 4chan phrenology shit is like, and I also kind of like see to a certain point that like that's the movie's point and that's what the movie is saying. But I feel like the demons have already been let into the house by even bringing it up in a sense. I don't know. And it's also so Canadian to me. Canadian trans women are so fucking online. It's not cute. It's not cute. Like, my problems are affording rent, and like y'all say like AGP out loud to each other and know what each other means by that. You know what I mean?
I mean, I will tragically say that is not limited to Canada. That is.
I know.
That
There's
is what
these
the
fucking
pony
tech
girls...
girlies in Seattle who are fucking annoying. Whatever. It's a me problem at this point.
I was gonna say it's not even a you problem. It's unfortunately a generational problem.
Oh God, you might be right.
Like, I think that might be part of even why we have such different reactions to it, is just like I've been around enough younger. I don't even know how old Louis Weird is, but like definitely like of a cohort slightly, I would say probably slightly younger than me. And I could just like clock it immediately. Just like even in like the type of 4chanism's talking about, I'm like, this isn't 2015 shit.
How do you tolerate like Zoomer unsexiness? Because it's so unsexy to me. It's just like so.
Oh, I'm
it's
not
like
attracted. I'm like
we
not
live in a dead
to
world
women.
now.
I'm like not attracted to women. That's how. It's really easy. I'm just amused.
I guess that makes sense.
I just get to clap my hands and go wee. But yeah, no, I guess like literally that is literally just part of it, is that I'm just like, oh yeah, this is definitely playing. God, there's like a short film that is like beloved. That like the title of it, I'm not even gonna say the full title of it, but it's literally just that like copy pasta that like TERFs send trans women.
I don't know which one.
It's like the "You will never be a woman," and then it just like keeps going.
Okay,
it's awful. It's awful, and it's the title of a trans movie, of like a trans short film.
Okay, work.
It's like I said, it's a very specific context that I don't relate to, but I can identify. Mostly because I can relate it to like, well, fuck, I grew up like reading fucking Sybil Lamb, like, and like her zines are like brutal as well. But like, you know, she also was like raiding pharmacies after Hurricane Katrina to steal estradiol to send to trans women.
That's pretty based.
Yeah, no, there's like a photo of it that used to be around on Facebook. I don't know if it's still around anymore. It's really of her like pointing a shotgun at like some fucking sheriff, being like, "No, I'm taking this."
Damn, that's fucking awesome.
No, Sybil Lamb, fucking. If you whoever is listening to this, if you haven't read "I've Got a Time Bomb" by Sybil Lamb, highly recommend it. Very, I don't know, kind of like an erratic prose style, but it is very. It's not autofiction because it was written before people started using that fucking term, but it's that same sort of like, you read between the lines enough and you start to realize like, oh, some of the shit she's talking about is like basically almost one for shit like she actually did, because there's like even a part in that where like she talks about doing that in like the fictionalized version of Hurricane Katrina.
Okay, that's pretty sick.
Yeah. What were we talking about? Oh, Castration Movie. Yeah, no, but like it was so funny. I was like, yeah, let's do this episode. I kind of knew you would just bounce off of it completely.
Right.
Because it is just so much of a milieu that is like not a favorable Baru environment.
It's just, I like my movies to be like flowery and cute and beautiful. And if they're gonna be about dirtbags, I guess I just like them to be a little funnier.
By contrast, one of my highlights of the COVID Discord era when we were all trapped inside was watching TFW No GF in a group call of people and correctly going, that one is going to transition, and then being 100% on the fucking money.
Got him. Sniped.
Did you know that movie was made by a trans woman? Speaking of, weird, right?
TFW No GF?
Yeah.
Damn.
And then she was at January 6th with Ariel Pink. What a stupid timeline we're living in, right?
A fucking moronic, idiotic, fucking dead world. I hope everybody dies.
See, now you're getting into the mindset. The castration movie mindset.
The kill everyone now mindset. Grind set, if you will.
I will say I would be interested. Well, actually, I guess if you don't vibe with the Canadian aesthetic, if you would like, hold on, there's this other work that Louise Weird worked on with one of her longtime collaborators, Diane Copeland, called Hack's Dead Room, which I think is a really, really cute little short film.
Yeah, I heard about that one.
It's kind of a weird, like, almost proto I Saw the TV Glow, except rather than, like, you know, going inside the TV or whatever, it's really about, like, it is the fictional final, like, season finale that ends up being the series finale of, like, a young adult fiction, of some YA show on, like, Canadian television. It's really, really good. I really like it. It really captures the feeling of just, like, this weird esoteric teen kid show you would have watched as a teenager and have half remembered things of. And, you know, it's a cute little gay movie.
That's fun. I like that. I'll check that out.
But yeah, no, I will fully admit I did not expect you to like this film. I figured it was a little bit too repellent, but you gotta support trans art.
Oh yeah, you know, we're still putting that Kickstarter link right in the description there. We're still hoping for the best for the project, and certainly watching it if we get a screener copy of the next part here.
Are you trying to subtly fish for, like?
Well, I'm assuming that you're gonna get a copy either way, and if you're getting a copy, I'm getting a copy.
Yeah, that's fair. What? The stuff that I've seen about part 2 already, I am very excited. I'm very excited to subject it to you and see how much you either bounce off it even more, or how much you're like, opinion changed, movie redeemed.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Anything's possible, really.
Returning to the actual film itself, I will say in terms of, like, okay, much like how you know, we've talked about, I bounced off People's Joker, but how I actually really appreciated that the People's Joker depicted, like, a dynamic and trans stuff that I've, like, almost never seen depicted in media before, which is like the toxic gay but still into femmes trans mask who serially dates trans femmes right before they come out, and then emotionally abuses them under the guise of the fact that, like, well, I've been through worse. This movie, I feel like, what I was mentioning, like, kind of answers the call of Nevada. I feel like really, really understands how to depict someone who is, like, the mom friend as, like, a thing that they are pursuing, not a thing that they're actually, like, you can't be the mom friend. Right. You are assigned the mom friend. Every mom friend knows that you just end up leaning into it because after the, like, 80th time you're, like, calling an Uber for your friends, or, like, hunting down your friend to remind them, like, hey, your last bus is in, like, 20 minutes, you need to go, or, like, making sure someone doesn't sleep in a bush. and they just go, okay, mom, you start to realize it's fuck it, fine, okay, fine, I'm the mom friend.
Mom
that's
is
the thing
as
about
mom does.
That's the thing about motherhood. It's always an accident.
A happy little accident.
Yeah. And so I think that is like one of the big things that just really like got me in this film, was just like, oh my god, because like I've been the mom friend, not this mom friend, but I've been the friend who gets known as the mom friend because I have an annoying hostess brain, and at parties I like to make sure everyone's okay.
Yeah.
I like to fetter around a bit too much. And so consequently I've met so many of these type of mom friends where it's like, they're like, oh, you're also the mom friend. And I'm like, girl, aren't you the designated driver? Why do you have a 6-pack? It's like, oh, I'm also the mom friend. Your partner's about to fall into the campfire.
You're the mom friend? Why are you blackout?
Yeah. You're the mom friend? You're the mom who gets CPS called on her friend.
You're the mom who the other moms lock up their pill cabinets over.
You're the mean girls, I'm a cool mom friend.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's rough out here. I mean, the mom title is a title easily taken, not oft earned.
Yeah. But I also acknowledge this film is an endurance test for that. I don't know. I think to me it's a weird thing where it's like the exact thing that you bounce off of it being kind of unfocused is a thing that I kind of like about it, because it really gives that sort of like, oh, anybody can make a movie vibe, and like not in like not me to like dinging the film way, but just in a like, it feels like a big part of the film is just like all of these people kind of coming together, and that filmmaking can be as collaborative as just like you're hanging out in the kitchen bullshitting.
Right.
Like it never feels like the people involved in this aren't having fun. They're just, it's like, when me and Greg do those bits where we'll just go for like 20-30 minutes straight at a party of just like pretending to be really passive aggressive with each other, and then at some point someone will be like, are you guys like mad at each other? And we'll just immediately drop it and be like, oh no, we're just fucking around. No,
that's when you have to keep doing it, and that's when you actually have to get mad at the person who asked.
that is what this movie feels like to me. Is it's like it's the filmic equivalent of just how far can you keep this bit going before one of you breaks.
Right.
Speaking of personal brag, my absolute favorite was keeping it going with Greg for a while, and then at just one point in the middle of the conversation, just me going, hey, by the way, just so you know, I'm not mad you're here. And I've never seen Greg like break face so hard. Just like keel over, just like laughing at that being like the worst possible thing you could say to somebody at a party.
Well, I'm not mad.
I'm just so you know, I'm cool with you being here.
That would set me off. If I was on acid, that would fucking ruin me.
Right? Just like that, like the immediate, like every possible paranoia and anxiety you could have just like turned up to 11. I don't even remember why I thought of it. It was we were just talking and I just said it in the middle of whatever we were talking about. It is a very cute collaboration of artists. I like that as well too. Obviously there's Vera Drew, but there's also Cricket Harrison. Oh god, I would have to have it in front of me, but there was like a bunch of musicians who worked on this that I noticed. I forget what her name is, but I know her as Edith. She makes really good music under that name. Or they make really good music. I'm actually not sure. Also, one of the main composers was the person who was playing Adeline.
Cool.
Loved whatever was going on, where they managed to film the movie around one of the cast members getting top surgery.
Yeah, that shit's crazy.
That was insane. I was like, okay, like this is an interesting plot point. And then there's just like the shot of him being like wheeled out.
I loved his hair and hair color being completely different in every single scene.
Honestly, I've known guys like that.
Of course.
Shout out the fact the second he gets top surgery, starts dressing like a dirtbag.
Yeah.
Realist character thing I've ever seen.
Immediately gets real sexy with it.
Yeah. Beautiful character trait.
Yeah.
There's so many small details in this too that I love like that. There's in the first half of the film when Brooklyn breaks up with Turner and then like a week later he breaks in and she's got a girl over. Within that week, she has also put up, there's like a lesbian pride flag pin on the wall. Just like beautiful piece of storytelling right there.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I just feel like the film, I think I put it on Letterboxd, like the film really captures to me just like hanging out at like a gay bar with a bunch of people that you maybe don't even particularly like, but it's like, I don't know, these are the fucking people I'm hanging out with.
Those are the people who showed up.
And because it's a bar, much like the movie theater, their problems stop being my problems once I leave.
That is true.
And maybe I can leave a little bit of my problems with them.
Wow. Community. That's what it's all about, J Bear Hat.
That's what it's all about.
Get in touch with your local community. Chain smoke cigarettes while drinking beers in an RV while watching Angry Video Game Nerd with your community.
On mute while discussing the penises of clients. Yeah, I guess that's the other thing about the film that we forgot to really talk about is that Michaela is a sex worker who gets it into her mind that she decides she wants to have a child and that she's in a really serious committed relationship with someone who very clearly does not view her that way.
Yeah. Chasing some uninterested cis dick.
And that is the thing I mentioned of it's like the way in which it kind of ends up paralleling the first story, but is navigated differently since she's navigating it as like a trans woman, is right. Rather than this sense of like, oh, how dare you, like, you're emasculating me and you're like rejecting me and this life we built up. It's instead like, oh, you're just like, this guy is very clearly like taking advantage of you emotionally to get like sex.
Mm-hmm.
And even just has like a really like brutal sex scene because of that. Like it's not unconsensual, but it's not great.
Yeah, really dark and upsetting. And long, very long.
That's like a continuing theme I notice, like, in regards to the dynamic between her and Adeline too, is that it's like every time her friends are performing and you're getting this sense of them like growing and like, you know, developing, even as Adeline is dealing with like depression and like anxiety about transition and like stress from like her job and like dysphoria, it'll just go to like Michaela, and Michaela is just like completely like selling this fantasy to herself while she's just like doing drugs and having sex with guys who like treat her like shit.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty miserable.
Listening to your friends perform on a radio station while eating a guy's pit in the middle of a trailer park is very real, though.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the way that, I mean, like, to give a positive, I really liked the way that the film portrayed sex, and the, like, it's still like these kind of like transactional forms of sex and like sex work, but it's not like, you know, just traditional, like, oh, I'm sucking his dick and taking it in the ass. It's like, oh, this guy wants me to eat his pit. Oh, this girl wants to pee on me, I guess. Oh, this guy, like, it's so, like, all over the place
I
in that
had
regard.
completely forgotten the pee scene, and specifically the guy's line, "I never get hard.
Yeah, I come when I'm soft.
I come when I'm soft." That's like that is like some shit someone I know would say at a party. Just like blacked out, just like, "I never get hard. I come when I'm soft." No, but yeah, you're right. Like,
And then
I
you hear
really
that
like
and
that.
you're like, oh,
Oh, oh,
okay.
I that is true though. It's like, yeah, I like that the film depicts, like, yeah, a lot of sex work is generally going to be like sucking dick, and also just like you're doing whatever this person wants because that's what the person wants.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And what the person wants is not always what you think. La la la.
Yeah. And I
Um,
also like that it doesn't come off as if it's like condemnatory or like critical of sex work.
yeah, absolutely.
It's definitely just like, this is her job. It's depicted as just as degrading and drudgery as like McDonald's.
to a certain extent, yeah. I mean, I would have loved to see more because, like, I don't know, the loser in the first act of the film doesn't have like a real person job. He's just kind of this like parking lot PA guy. Uh so to have like a more sort of through line in terms of just like capitalist horror, it might have been nice for, to see him at his McDonald's job once or twice. Or I don't know, something along those lines, but you at least get some sense of that like, this unglamorous sex work lifestyle that is nonetheless not, demonized or whatever.
Yeah, no. I know it. I see what you mean. Because like, I guess the closest is they make the equivalent with the call center job, which they only really show a little bit of.
Yeah, with the horrible fucking like words on the wall.
God, that shit. I was like, there's no fucking way she just like found that. Like, I'm like, it's too on the nose, but also like on the nose enough that I can believe that they just happened to find an office that had that up, and we're like, we need to film right here, right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there's like a lot of scenes that like it feels like the setting is very much so just like, this spot, let's film right here.
Yeah, some scrappy location scouting. I would love a making of.
I mean, honestly, who knows? Maybe with part 2, we'll get a box set release, a boutique DVD release,
feature length with special features, trailers for other transsexual films, and CD-ROM capabilities with an interactive game on the CD-ROM, and it takes me with my parents' permission to the website.
I think it would be so funny to put out like a boutique release that has like those features and includes like the old shitty like desktop wallpaper style, like,
oh my
like things.
God,
but it's only in old resolutions, like only 640 by 480.
240 by 320 wallpaper.
Yeah, just like the shittiest, lowest quality, just like like it was fucking made for like Windows ME like era fucking wallpapers.
I want to be able to change my mouse cursor to Castration Movie themed mouse cursor.
It becomes the little blahage.
I hated that. I hated that blahage. I hated seeing it. I hated the joke. I hated it. I fucking hate it. I'm coming out against all trans memes. I'm anti-meme, There's no... Try to guess one thing about me. You can't, bitch. I defy all the stereotypes. That's right. I'm not like other girls. I'm the girl that's not like the other girls.
Honestly, I think we should work on we should work on developing new types of not like other girls for trans women.
That's what I'm in the lab doing, bitch. That's what I'm over here cooking up.
Oh, you like Ethel Cain? Sorry, I'm still listening to I don't know, fucking... I guess I was gonna say lingua ignota, but that's already a trans girl stereotype.
I mean, you listen to Ethel Cain? Well, I listen to Grimes.
Jesus.
It's horseshoe theory, baby.
Yeah. Hunter Schafer? Who's that? No, wait, no, Hunter Schafer's just a celebrity at this point.
Hardly know her.
Ah.
Ooh. Woo.
I'm not like other trans women. I didn't vote for the Democrats. I can't vote at all. I'm a felon.
I'm wanted in 12 states and 50 counties.
I can't cross the border. So imagine I'm saying all this while like turning and flipping my hair.
Yeah, doing like TikTok, like pointing and
dancing. I committed tax fraud.
Here's why armed robbery is not that bad of a crime.
Here's how to make your victimless crime a victim-loved crime.
Here's how to make Stockholm Syndrome work for you.
Doing like one of the like starting a trend of of getting people to self-diagnose as having Stockholm Syndrome.
Dude, Munchausen's by proxy, Stockholm Syndrome.
We could probably get the girls who are like terrified of like... Actually, yeah, I'm not like other girls, and that I do think that if there's a zip tie on my car, it is because someone at Target in the parking lot is going to white traffic me.
That is true. If there's bird shit on my car, it usually means I'm about to be trafficked.
I honestly just assume at any given moment I am going to be trafficked.
Well, it's a fair assumption. I mean, these days, you know, what everyone's trafficked at this point.
5 million women go missing in the United States every 30 seconds.
Wow, that's crazy if you think about it. Women are so strong for enduring that.
Yeah, no, it's really we really gotta bring back beauty is what we need to bring back.
What do you mean?
I was just like, what are the kind of things that these girls always say? Like when they're talking about this stuff, they're always just like, oh, we need to bring back beauty. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. They're just always saying it. And I'm like, fuck, I like beauty. Yeah, shit, we should bring that back.
To help with human trafficking.
I didn't know where it went.
To help with human trafficking, we have partnered with Anastasia Beverly Hills. We can stop human trafficking one face powder at a time.
And remember, rosewater before the vitamin E oil.
Oh God. Don't do it after.
Don't do it. It doesn't mix. I liked this better. And I'm not saying this to set the girlies, you know, I'd never choose, but if I had to, I like this better than People's Joker.
Wow.
I will say, I do think they are very different movies in very different regards, and I think they are both important, and there's obviously Vera Drew is a fucking talent. She fucking kills it even in this movie. But one of my biggest problems with the People's Joker was that it felt very much so like it's doing all of this cool narrative stuff and like collaborative effort, to kind of just tell a very like normal coming of age story. Like it's a very like, you know, it's the trans coming out story.
Sure.
And I like that this movie is moving 1,000% in the opposite direction.
Yeah. It's way more inside baseball.
Yeah, it's way more about like not really caring if you're keeping up. It's way more like indulgent. There's still obviously like a fun collaborative effort, and it's like the way I was thinking about it before that I'd put it is it's like People's Joker is a film I would be like anybody you can make a movie, but that's something I would show to like people who can draw, like people who like already make stuff.
Sure, yeah.
Because it's like anyone can make a movie. Do you know like a bunch of like talented artists? Whereas this feels a lot more like I could show this to like the messy Zoomer bitches and they will go out and like make a bunch of short films. And most of them will probably be good, absolute fucking dog shit. But they'll be out there making art.
Yeah. That's something.
Which means they won't be at the fucking bar causing problems for me.
They'll be at home for once.
But yeah, like it's something where it's like I like it because it is it's a very accessible film in a way that People's Joker. It's ironic to call it accessible where People's Joker wasn't, given my other critique of it, but I meant like the format feels a lot more like this is an attainable like platonic ideal of film, where
Sure.
People's Joker feels a bit more like a lot.
Yeah, People's Joker is an achievement. Let's put it that way.
And and again, I'm really excited for part 2 of this. I will probably watch People's Joker again at some point. Having seen it once, I never really felt too strong of a compelling to go back to it again. Because at the end of the day, the story is just, it's a little, you know, it's a normal story.
Sure.
I'm trying so... You were, like, so mean to this movie, and here I am trying so hard to not sound like I'm shitting on People's Joker.
You can shit on People's Joker. You're allowed.
I don't want to shit on People's Joker.
We love People's Joker here. We
Vera
love
Drew
Vera
seems
Drew
very
here.
Drew. Vera Drew seems very nice.
Shout out to Very Drew.
She is very fucking funny.
Yeah, she was very funny in this movie.
I was gonna say I did not like recognize her for a good chunk of the film, because she just looks so fucking different. And tell the line where she goes, "Yeah, well, I sourced these hormones from the Ukraine, so when the war's over,"
that was a funny line.
That great line. Absolutely was like, that's a Vera Drew delivery line. I know who that is.
Yeah.
I watched the whole movie of this bitch delivering jokes.
Well, I can give my little better than.
Yeah.
In the mumblecore sphere, I liked this movie better than Slacker.
Really?
Yes, I don't like Slacker. I think Slacker's just kind of a failed experiment. I don't know what it is about it, but like the characters, like I just am such a characters person, and I love following characters around, and Slacker is like cock blocks me there, and it makes me mad. It makes me mad. I'm so mad.
I think what I love about that is specifically that it's like, that's like such insanely high praise for this film, I feel like, but also it's such a like Baru style high praise where it's like, oh, but I actually hate Slacker.
I hate one of the most beloved, lauded independent films ever made in the country of America. 'Cause that's just how I am, baby.
That you really are not like other girls.
I'm not like these other... What did I tell you?
That's so funny. No, that makes a lot of sense. I was actually just about to be like, oh, I might go see Slacker this month. Because they're showing it.
I mean, you might as well. You should still see it.
I should still see it. That's so funny. I'm sorry. I was like, that's such a good pool for this. Okay. Do you want to do your not as good as?
Sure. If you want to save yours for last.
Yeah.
I like Stress Positions better than this movie. Not to pit two women against each other, but that's kind of the name of the game here of what we're doing.
There can only be one.
There can only be one.
And thankfully, the girl who played Amelia Perez is racist on Twitter, so she's completely out of the running.
Get that bitch out of here. Theta Hamill, get in the ring.
Stress Positions is really, really good. Stress Positions was easily one of my top film. In fact, I think it was like my top 4 of the year last year.
Yeah, it's spectacular. It's spectacularly funny. And to my point about Castration Movie, a script goes a really fucking long way. And when I say a script, I mean like writing out these scenes and writing them again and writing them again and sending them to someone else and fixing them and writing them again and like distilling it down to like a one line that punches the audience in the stomach that's like really fucking good and really fucking funny. Like you can do in one line what a scene in like what an improvised scene takes like 15 minutes to do. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of like artfulness and filtration of your ideas into like the, you know, into the cup that gets filled with the water of your concepts and ideas. You know what I'm talking about, man?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's why I actually recommended Hack's Dead Rooms. I feel like you'd like it because it's a much more tightly round story.
Okay. That gives me a lot of yeah, I'll check it out.
No, that makes sense. Mine is so right before I saw Castration Movie, I watched another really indie, low budget, experimental, bizarre thing that goes kind of in the exact opposite directions a lot of this.
Mm-hmm.
Called Ruckus. Rukus. That I also got to got to meet the director of completely by happenstance at the furry con I went to the next day.
That's so funny.
Because I just was at a bar thing that that a bunch of people were invited to, and the friend who recommended the movie to me, I was like, hey, I watched that right before I came to this. It's really fucking good. And he went, oh, the director's right here. I don't even know where to begin to describe it. It's kind of a documentary, kind of fiction. It centers around both the director and a person named Ruckus in like the mid-2000s Southern Florida scene. But a lot of the film is told via recreations using either like interviews or like talking to people or like just recreating like chat logs that they have and a lot of like archival DV camera footage of this person. And it is very much so about it is about furry, but it also is not about furry. It is about people and creating art and being really fucked up and not knowing how to handle it.
That sounds really, really compelling.
And it is a tight 87 minutes.
Okay.
So that's why I say it's like it kind of goes in the opposite direction in that it is a very, very tightly made little piece that is very heavily drawn from scripting because a lot of scenes are recreations where it's like the dialogue is pretty clearly like pre-written out, but it's like recollections or they're recreating stuff from chat logs, so it's things that characters have already said and discussed. And also it's kind of about like, you know, these awkward, fucked up like queer people who end up like either being hurt or hurting each other or like exploring all of these weird spaces and feelings. And I really fucking liked it. and it felt like a very bizarre capstone to have watched that right before my vacation, come back, and then immediately watch Castration Movie.
Yeah. That sounds awesome.
But of the two, Ruckus is one that I feel like I can recommend the most without a few asterisks.
Okay.
Ruckus is the... Castration Movie is the movie I can recommend to people, but I will also be like, oh, I know Brew's gonna hate this. Ruckus is a movie I can recommend to, like, everyone.
Yeah. That's cool. That sounds really cool. Well, I came away from it with a little recommendation here. And yeah, I'm glad you got to come in and get all this off your chest.
Yeah. No, I'm really...
get it off
really
your
glad.
nuts or whatever, because, like, castration.
Oh, yeah. There's not a lot of castration in Castration Movie Part 1.
There should probably be... I mean, I hope Part 2 they up the castration.
I feel like Part 2, there's gotta be... Because that's also, like, a focus of, like, Louis Weird's, like, film experience.
I mean, I guess
like,
some people consider transition a form of chemical castration or whatever.
I guess there's the sort of subplot about, like, being infertile. Which also, by the way, like, realest depiction I've ever seen of, like, the exact type of, like nick fitting almost that, like, some trans women will do when they have to go off T for any reason, or not T, when they have to go off E for any reason.
Yeah.
I remember a friend of mine described it once when, like, she and her spouse swapped hormones for their anniversary. She was like, I forgot that being on T feels like I just did a line of coke.
God, that's what a way to describe it.
Right?
They should make like a third random hormone that's like a...
I've been saying they need to make the E621 tag hormone.
They need to make the Mario Kart question block hormone.
They need to make like a hormone where you can, like, push one part in and a different part pops out elsewhere. They need to make the plug and play hormone.
Yeah. It needs to be like Operation, where there's, like, different hormones for different parts of your body.
They need to make the hormone that will let you be that one, like all genders welcome sign where there's the person who's, like, a guy but with a girl leg.
Yeah.
They need a girl leg hormone.
Yeah, it should be localized like that. They need to... The science needs to get on that.
I want gonna look like a full ass, like, Forester man, but then my one leg looks like the lamp from A Christmas Story.
Damn, that sounds kind of sexy.
Yeah. But yeah, no, thank you for hearing me out. You're not gonna, like, tell anyone though, right?
Well, I only really tell the authorities if I hear something during the session that, like, kind of bothers me or sounds off or, makes it sound like you're gonna do something. So basically I've already pressed the red button under my desk and...
Fuck! Okay.
Yeah, you better,
Man, and I didn't even talk about how my plan was to find JD Vance and...